Hi there, it's Steve again at the Vintage Model Builds channel. I've got another review tonight. This one's the U.S. aircraft carrier Yorktown. Designation signal CV5. Yorktown, very famous aircraft carrier, and a lot of history behind it and with it. To go back even farther in history, the Yorktown was named after the town in Norfolk, Virginia, that was the site of the final battle of the U.S. Colonial Revolutionary War against the British, where the colonial forces defeated General Cornwallis's, and after that the British packed up and left. There's still a naval weapons station there. I've been there. It's a beautiful place, lovely spot. And so a lot of history behind the Yorktown, a lot of defiance too. So she was a tough ship. When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor on December 7th, Hawaii date, 1941, she was actually in the Atlantic. She wasn't there as part of the Pacific Fleet. Also, fortunately for the U.S. Navy, the other aircraft carriers that were in the Pacific, operating out of Pearl Harbor, they were actually at sea on maneuvers. And so that's why so many battleships were destroyed without any aircraft carriers. Of course, after the attack, the Yorktown was quickly dispatched to Pearl Harbor and attached to the Pacific Fleet. We'll have more on the history and trivia later. You know, people who watch this channel know I love it, and hope you find it interesting and informative. So we'll take a look at it. Let's get into it. And here we are. First of all, this is nice. I've been ranting lately on them, sticking these, putting the stickers, boom, on right on in the middle of the box. Wrecks the box art. I'm going to build the models, but a lot of people buy them and put them on the shelf. They just want to see the box art. And even after it's built, they still want to see the box art. So, excuse me. I've reviewed the Akagi, and I've reviewed the Prince of Wales, both in the Waterline series. Akagi was a Hasegawa kit. This is a Tamiya kit. And it's catalog number 31712. The Waterline series are flat bottomed, so they're great for dioramas or just sitting on the shelf, but especially for dioramas. So here we have lovely box art. The shipping material was good. There's a little scuff on the corner here, not unusual, and a little bit of a dent here, but otherwise everything is just fine. We get a nice picture here, same as the top of the box, and Tamiya also gives pictures of other ships in the same series. as always, with Tamiya, they put basic information about the ship itself on the outside of the box in Japanese. Nothing wrong with that. Japanese company. And we have the same here, ready to assemble precision model kit, etc., etc. Okay, so let's open her up here. There was no cellophane on this, it was taped. But as always, when I receive a kit, I always open it up and check to see that everything's okay. So here we go. We've got a little bit of blistering here. I don't think that's from the squishing of the box. It seems to be pretty common. I can't think of a kit that hasn't had it, except for, I guess the only exception would be the Trumpeter CH-47 Chinook. And it was beautifully packaged, and it's a lovely kit. I'm no fan of the Chinese manufacturers. The word out there in the community is more often than not, the instructions are a disaster, and there's also problems with fit and so on and so forth. But I did a review on that, and you can find that along with all my other reviews in the playlist of kit reviews, unboxing reviews, and ratings. Okay, so here we go. We get, this is very nice. The hull is in one piece. We'll open her up here. Tamiya still uses staples. I don't know why. But they do. Maybe because staples require much less energy than heat sealing, and especially since the Fukushima disaster, you know, the Japanese islands are pretty much powered by oil, petroleum products. Although I think they do still have a couple of other nuclear plants far from the sea. Okay, so here we go. We'll pull this out. And, you know, aircraft carriers aren't really known for their extensive detail. But yeah, here we have the nice vents and portholes. I'm seeing a little bit of flash. Nothing. Yeah, a little bit of flash. That'll need to be trimmed up. Nice, it's in one piece. And we'll get to this next. Excuse me. So the Yorktown was the lead ship in her class. The Yorktown class followed the Lexington class, which, like the Kagi, was a converted battle cruiser. As I said earlier, in December late in December 41, Yorktown was transferred to the Pacific Fleet and became the flagship of Rear Admiral Frank Fletcher's Task Force 17. In May 1942, she had the distinction of participating in the first ever carrier versus carrier engagement in naval history at the Battle of the Coral Sea. Although the Yorktown suffered damage during this action, the U.S. Forces successfully thwarted Japanese plans to advance on Port Moresby in New Guinea. Yorktown withdrew to Pearl Harbor after the battle, and initial assessments concluded that at least 90 days were required to fully repair her. However, Admiral Chester Nimitz, the Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Pacific Fleet, ordered an around-the-clock emergency repair effort in order to get the Yorktown back into action quickly. The reason for the haste was that the U.S. had deciphered the Japanese military codes and was aware of the impending operation to capture Midway Island. Approaching this time, the U.S. Pacific Fleet had only 2 fully operational aircraft carriers, the Enterprise and the Hornet, and so the availability of an additional carrier in the form of the Yorktown became vital to the American fleet's chances of successfully repelling the Japanese attack. Following 3 days of non-stop work, Yorktown was patched up successfully, or sufficiently, to set sail from Pearl Harbor on the morning of the 4th day, although repair crews continued repairs on board while the ship was en route to the battle. When the Yorktown did make its appearance at the Battle of Midway, the Japanese were shocked. All of their information had indicated that the Yorktown was going to be out of action for a significant period of time. Of course, the Battle of Midway was a turning point in the war in the Pacific, and the Yorktown fought hard, but unfortunately, at the end of the battle, she, after being bombed and having one aircraft actually crashed into her, she was eventually torpedoed by a Japanese submarine and eventually sunk. However, prior to sinking, almost all of the crew were evacuated, and actually it was thought that everyone had been evacuated until one other U.S. ship saw gunfire coming from the Yorktown against aircraft that were still attacking her. And so they realized that there were people still on board. There were 2 crew members who were evacuated. Unfortunately, one died, but one survived. After many attempts to keep her afloat, unfortunately her list kept increasing, and as I said, a Japanese submarine finally sent her to the bottom. It's doubtful if the United States could have won the Battle of Midway without the Yorktown, and so she put up a heroic fight. That pretty much saved the war in the Pacific for the United States. Okay, so enough pontificating. Here we go. More staples. Okay, so we start with this little bag that has 3 sprues of aircraft. There'll be the Douglas Dauntlesses, and looks like a couple of other larger aircraft. viewers of the channel will know the Testors Hawk series Douglas Dauntless 172 scale that I built, and they were instrumental in destroying the Japanese aircraft carriers at the Battle of Midway. Okay, so here it looks like we've got a little bit of copper wire, probably for rigging. This is sprue B. Has lots of little parts. We've got masts. Looks like a crane. Some gun mounts. As well as, looks like here's the, I can never remember what that's called. The part where all the command center is and everything on an aircraft carrier. I keep wanting to say sail like they do in the U.S. Navy for submarines, but that's not what it's called. So, figure it out. Huh. Steve, knock knock. Try and remember next time. Okay, so not super detailed here. Not as nice as the Prince of Wales was. But again, it was an aircraft carrier, and they were pretty basic. Inside this bag, we've got 2 sprues. This has most of the deck. We've got some nice vents here. Lots of guns, rafts, lifeboats. Launches. Yeah, so, well, not, and here's the elevator to bring the planes up from lower decks. Very nice. And then here we have the flight deck itself. Very nicely detailed. I'll get it out, see if we can show it better. It's not bent, it's nice and straight. And you can see all the deck detail here. Decals came in this bag as well. And just as with the Prince of Wales, it looks like we've only got decals for the aircraft. There's no US flags or signal flags, but the decals look nice. Well, that's going to be fun putting those on, little airplanes, not to mention painting them. They are in a nice separate bag though, which is good. I don't know why Tamiya doesn't do that. I don't understand why they don't put flags in with the decals. I forgot to mention, this was about $54. The Prince of Wales was about $52. And this kit's comparable, although, as I mentioned before, the detail isn't as good. And here, I'm not going to open this bag, it's just a single sprue. And that has deck sides and so on and so forth. There's the instructions. We've got the bottom here. Again, it's not warped or bent. And the classic metal piece to go on the bottom, along with the Tamiya tech tips. Okay, so we'll put these back in here, nice and safe. There's a little bit of flash on those aircraft, but you know, they're so small. We'll move this out of the way. We'll take a look at the instructions here. Again, it's the vertical fold out, fold down, whatever. Not a booklet style. And it looks like we have 12 steps here. Here's something I haven't seen before. They suggest a magnifying visor. And they give you the cement, types of cement to use. Of course, Tamiya cement, regular and extra thin. As I've said before, I use the extra thin Tamiya, and Mr. Cement for Mr. Hobby, Mr. Cement Deluxe, that's a thicker one. Also other tools you're going to need. Paints required, not a lot. And the note here, refer to the separate painting guide for painting, which we briefly saw at the beginning, but I'll be showing it again. Well, what do you know? It's called the bridge assembly. Huh. Steve, you're a real dummy sometimes. Okay, so yeah, so we've got the bridge assembly here. It tells you what to remove, where to put it. As always, Tamiya instructions, very simple. Very easily understood. Diagrams are perfect. We move on here to the hull parts assembly. Forward wall tells you what to, things to remove. These are molding posts. Other things you need to remove. Excuse me. Hangar wall, aft wall, port side, hangar deck assembly, aft wall, port side. This looks a lot simpler than the Akagi kit from Hasegawa. I mean, the instructions, not the kit itself. Although it does actually look like a simpler kit. Okay, and so, yeah, so it shows you where to put the weight in and when. Attaching the anchors. Attaching the hangar deck. Aft parts. Boats. launches. Then we come to the deck assembly. The deck itself, the elevator. I expect you can either, it shows you to attach the posts if you're going to put the elevator in the up position or the down position. I'll decide that when I go to decide when I go to build it. Attaching the bridge. Attaching the aircraft and gun barrels. And it looks like there's some very delicate operations to be done here. But they show you exactly where it's supposed to go, and they give you a blow up. They also give you a scale. And of course all the aircraft lined up. So that's it, 12 steps. Instructions all in black and white, but they also provide this glossy paint guide. The Devastator. So they had the SBD Dauntless and the TBD. I guess that was for torpedoes. The Devastator. Also some Wildcats. So even though they're really tiny, a wide variety of aircraft. And gives you the painting and decaling here. Again, they list the paints. Not a lot of paints. Flat black, flat white, medium blue, sky gray, and field blue. Excuse me. So, a very nice little kit. Not quite as nice as the Prince of Wales. But still, a very nice kit. And so, now we come down to the rating. Okay, so packaging, up to 2 points. I'm going to give it 1.75 points. Take a quarter off because of the little scuff there and the slight creases in the box. External packaging was good, but you know, stuff like that happens in shipping. That's not on Tamiya. Sprues, 1.75. There was a little bit of flash on the aircraft, so I'm only going to ding them a quarter point for that. And there was, you know, a little bit of flash on the hull itself. For the parts, up to 3 points there, and there were no warped or broken parts. Again, the decals were just, you know, there were no flags or signal flags, so a quarter point off for that. So that's 2 3/4. Instructions, get a full 3 points. Excellent general history and service notes. The instructions were clear. They were in black and white, but they also provided that lovely glossy supplement. Instructions were laid out beautifully, so yeah, 3 points for that. Bonus points, a quarter. Quarter bonus points for for the glossy insert. That wasn't expected. Excuse me. And as far as the value is concerned, $54, yeah. I'm going to give that a quarter point bonus on value. And not spectacular, but a good kit that I'll get plenty of hours out of. So that gives us a total of 9 3/4 out of 12, which is very respectable, especially since, you know, 2 out of 12 points are for wow and value. So well worth a while for a kit, and looking forward to building it. Alright, so that's it for tonight's video. Thanks everyone for joining me. I appreciate all my subscribers, everyone who stops in to view, whether it's for a short time or a long time. Look forward to any comments people would like to leave. Please keep them respectful. Remember that younger people, children, may be watching these videos, and I'm not overly sensitive to criticism, as long as it's fair criticism, and always welcome to new ideas and new information. So thanks again for joining me. Hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas time coming up this week. And even if you don't celebrate, people get time off with pay. And whether or not you're religious, it's still an excellent time to spend with friends and family, and to get into the spirit of friendship and love. So if you're out there on the roads, don't drink and drive, and watch out for those who might be doing that. So thanks again, and everyone have a great evening.